Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today, I'm going to be doing a brand new tag. This is the Christmas music tag. It was created by Daniela at An Uncommon Reader and Renee at Beyond Books, and they created this tag together in honor of Renee's first year anniversary on Booktube. So happy anniversary, Renee. Thank you, Renee and Daniela, for creating this delightful new tag. I was tagged by both Renee and Daniela, and I thank you both for tagging me, and I will put their links to their videos in the notes below. Both Renee and Daniela say at the beginning of their videos that this tag is based on songs, carols, and hymns that celebrate the Christmas season. However, you do not have to be familiar with the music in order to do the tag. And actually, you don't need to celebrate Christmas either to do this tag. It's just a tag to create a spirit of cheer and goodwill. So the prompts. Number 1, Joy to the World. A book that brings you so much joy you wish the whole world would read it. For that, I thought that really any book by Becky Chambers would fulfill this prompt. I just decided to show The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which is the first book in her Wayfarers series. But really, I could have shown any Becky Chambers book. They all give me a sense of joy. In fact, in this season, I am rereading some Becky Chambers, and I can't recommend her highly enough. Number 2, Let It Snow, a book that takes place in a snowy, cold environment. For that, I thought of the book by David Guterson, Snow Falling on Cedars. This is a novel that is set in the years immediately following World War II, but most of the story takes place on San Pedro Island, which is actually a fictional name for an island, north of the Puget Sound. And the story, much of the story, takes place during the month of December in an incredible snowstorm. So snow actually figures very prominently, not only in the title of the novel, but in the entire story. Number 3, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, a book with a mean character or one that you just don't like. For that, I thought of Charles Dickens' David Copperfield. This is one of, I think, my 2 favorite Dickens novels. And I was thinking actually of 2 characters in this book who would really fit the description of a mean character and characters that I don't like. And that would be Mr. Murdstone and Uriah Heep. They're 2 really nasty characters in this book. Number 4, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, a book releasing soon that you can't wait to read. I just learned that there's a new novel coming out in early December by Julia Armfield, and the new book is called Private Rights. Julia Armfield is the author of Our Wives Under the Sea, which I read last winter. Many people on Booktube were reading that. I think it was a finalist in a lot of different contests last year, and I think it was in the Booktube Awards this year also. But the new book I was reading about this Private Rites is supposed to be a reimagining of Shakespeare's King Lear. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And it will be out in just a few weeks. Number 5, 12 Days of Christmas, a book of short stories. Well, I've been making it a project this year. I've been reading the Miss Marple novels of Agatha Christie, and there's also a collection of the complete Miss Marple short stories. So this is something that I will be reading. This is on my list of books to be read in the Miss Marple series. So this is a beloved collection gathering all of the short stories featuring Miss Marple. Number 6, Little Drummer Boy, a book that brings back childhood memories. And for that, I just picked 2. I have them on my shelf. One was a favorite book that I read, I'm going to say in 4th grade. I think that was when I read this. And this is on many people's lists of notable books from childhood. And this is Jean Craighead George's My Side of the Mountain. And then another beloved book from childhood is Louisa May Alcott's Little Women. And I actually still have the original, this is the original edition from which I read this story when I was about 8 years old. It was my mother's favorite book, and she bought it for me in the summer when I was 8 years old. And she actually wrote in the opening, in the cover, I'm delighted to share with you one of my old I'm delighted to share one of my old favorites with you. Happy reading. This was actually an abridged edition, probably appropriate for an 8-year-old, and then I would later read the unabridged edition. But I don't seem to have the unabridged edition still in my library, but I have this with all of my other saved books from my childhood. Just really sweet illustrations in it. Anyway, I remember the summer that I read this for the first time. Okay. Number 7, Deck the Halls, a book that has a party scene or one that takes place during a holiday. And I had 2 for that too. I really like the Stephanie Barron series of their Jane Austen mysteries, and I think this was actually the first one that I read, and then I went back and read the earlier ones. But this is Jane and the 12 Days of Christmas, and it's actually filled with holiday celebrations. But this was my introduction to the Stephanie Barron, Jane Austen books, Jane Austen mysteries, and it's just a delightful one. And just another book for the season is Samantha Silver's Mr. Dickens and His Carol. And this is, it's just a charming little book, sort of historical fiction, but it's at least a fictionalized version of how Dickens came to write the Christmas classic, A Christmas Carol. Okay, and number 8, Frosty the Snowman, a book with a character who is cold or calculating. Well, right now I am reading with Melinda at a web of stories, and her Shakespeare project. She's created a Discord. Part of her Discord channel is called the Bard Room, where she reads a different Shakespearean play each month. And this month's reading is Othello. And I've joined them for this month for sure. And probably the character of Iago in Othello he's probably one of the greatest villains Shakespeare ever created, and he is definitely what I would describe as a cold and calculating figure. And then there's an optional bonus prompt. Do you have a fun memory or interesting holiday tradition that you would like to share? It does not have to be about Christmas. It can be about any holiday you choose. So I thought of two. I told this one story in another video, but it's a great Christmas story. When I was a little kid, my mother used to pose these, Christmas pictures every year. And one of her favorite pictures was of me coming down the stairs holding a brass candlestick, in a long, winter nightgown. And, it was like supposed to, I guess, create the air of like a Victorian Christmas. And my older brothers and my older cousins just ridiculed me every year for this picture. I think I even included the picture as a thumbnail on an earlier video that I did. But what is sort of funny about this is that one of my cousins, who's been mocking me for these silly pictures from my childhood throughout my life, he has we have been exchanging one of the brass candlesticks that actually came from my mother. It was one of my mother's brass candlesticks. And we pass this thing around every Christmas. So you don't know where it's going to turn up. You don't know exactly how it's going to turn up, but someone will get this brass candlestick each Christmas. And then you hold on to it for the year until it's time to pass it along again. I know I passed it along last Christmas, so I expect it to turn up again. And this cousin who has been, who started this, he also gives me a gift every Christmas that features a candle. And he's given me some beautiful, lovely gifts, but there's always a candle in one of his gifts. And it's just a little nudge to remind me of this childhood memory. And my other Christmas memory involves one of my older brothers who roped me into going on a hunt one year for Christmas gifts before Christmas. And I was really little, and I still very much believed in all of the wonder and magic of Christmas. And he pulled me into my parents' room, and we went into their closet, and he found a good part of our Christmas gifts in the closet. And I must have had such a look of horror and terror on my face that he immediately backtracked and told me that what really happened was that Santa Claus had come early and had to go everywhere early to deliver gifts because he couldn't possibly get everywhere on Christmas Eve. And so he preserved my belief in Santa Claus and the wonder and the magic of Christmas for at least another year. And I've always had a special place in my heart for my brother having done this, that pre-Christmas season, that he sort of felt terrible about what he had dragged me into, and then he went on to save the day and explain why some of the gifts had arrived early, and I bought it. Okay, so Renee and Daniela say we should share the cheer, tag others, and have a very happy holiday season. So I'm going to tag anyone who's watching this. If you'd like to join in the fun, and I really encourage everyone to, let's spread some good cheer. We all need some good cheer. And I'm also going to tag a few specific people. I'm tagging Kevin Toll Reads, Troy Trotup, Stuart Griffin, Genre Books, Big Hard Books and Classics, Read and Reread, Rainer Reads Stuff, Michael Romeo Talks Books, Robert G. Reader of Books, Joshua Crebo Reads, Suey's Book Banter, Jess Book Girl TV, Novel Insights, or Dr. L Reads, Chris's Reading Corner, My Messy Bookshelf, Middle of the Book March, Literary Love 1, 2, 3, and Quaint and Curious Volumes. So this is a lovely, delightful tag, and I hope that if you're watching and you'd like to join in, I hope that you will consider yourself tagged as well. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.